Check. Okay, I think I gotta turn this up a little bit. Still. Check, 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 check. Ah, that's better. Hey, everybody. Looks a little foggy, huh? My room is not even foggy. What the hell? It's weird. I think it's like the lights are clashing because there's still light outside, and I usually don't stream when it's still light out. Hello, everybody. If anybody's here yet, it says that nobody's here yet, but hello, hello. Greetings. Welcome. We're gonna shuffle all these cards, and then they're gonna be ready by the time you guys are coming in here. Hi, Mr. Weird. How are you? You are literally the first person in here today. That is awesome. I'm okay. Just been kind of like been getting pressed down by my depression, I think. Haven't really been wanting to get up and do anything. Ugh. And I hate that feeling. I hate that because I hate sitting and not doing anything. So it's like it's making me. It's such a weird feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. But I'm sure if you have depression, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it's really annoying. But other than that, things are okay. You know, things are what they are. Ugh. Sucky. But I mean, it's like, okay, I try to forgive myself, but it's really hard because I'm very hard on myself with things I do or don't do. But I'm trying to just think like, it's okay. My vacation is almost over, so I gotta get as much rest in as possible before I go back to my job. So that's okay. Just really tired, even so I'm sleeping enough. I'm really tired because I'm not sleeping like really good. And then, you know, this whole, yeah, exactly. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. I'm like, come on, be over, you know. But of course it takes longer than I'm hoping. So, but I hope everything is okay with you. Your life is okay. It's treating you good, I hope. Whew. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Gets tricky, gets tricky. I haven't even felt like meditating or anything like that in a while now, and I'm just like disappointed in myself, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I think what it is I need something new. I need to see something new. I need some kind of excitement in my life because it's just been sitting at home, going to work, sitting at home. And even throughout this whole vacation, I went to the bar one day, and then the other time I went to the beach, which was awesome because there was actually dolphins swimming like 15 feet away from me, which was an amazing experience. But it wasn't, I don't know. That was like the only good thing about it, because it was kind of like, it was nice, but it wasn't really, I didn't really like the beach that much, the one that we went to. I wasn't really so happy with it. It was like a smaller beach, you know what I mean? So there's like people right behind us and shit, and I'm just like, oh God, I hate that shit, You went to they still fucking perform? Oh my God. They're ancient now, huh? Oh, drugs? Yeah, I'm not into that. Except for a little weed, maybe. Even that's very little. I like my beer. But that's it. I'm not into all that other stuff. Was it a good show, or? I wonder. I'm not a big fan of them. That's not my music. Oh, hi, Florida Metal. Oh, that's good. That's good. How much were the tickets, if I may ask? I'm really curious to know about that. Oh, well, that's awesome. Then doesn't matter. Then it's gonna be a good time regardless, We have a saying in Germany: "Einem geschenkten Gaul guckt man nicht ins Maul," which means a donkey that was gifted to you, you don't look in his mouth. As in, like, you don't check whether his teeth are good and all that stuff. You just take it as it is because it was a gift. We have weird sayings. Long sayings. Very long sometimes. Like that one. So weird. But yeah. Like, what it means essentially is beggars can't be choosers. Right? So. Yep. I'm sure that this saying has been around for a long time and we just never lost it. I think it goes like this for us with many sayings. I've been watching this late night comedy show, right, with a host and everything, and it's a German show, and it's called TV Total, so TV Total, right, is the name of the show. That is like literally my favorite German TV show, and I've been watching that for the last few days, and it's been reminding me of so many terms that I had forgotten about because I haven't used them, right? Because my brother and I, when we communicate, we talk about oftentimes, a lot of the same things, because our lives aren't that exciting, right? We're talking about streaming. I talk about my band and my art a little bit, and we'll talk about mainly work, right? Work, and that's about it, and streaming. So our vocabulary is not so extensive when we communicate, right? So there's a lot of words that over time you just kind of like put in the back, but then they're gone, and that's been really helping me pick up my vocabulary again, and now I can know, oh, next time I'm talking to my brother, I'm going to be using these words again, so that I don't lose my first language, I'm pretty much, very rusty in my second already, like I cannot even, it's hardly there. So my first one, I better not lose it, So yeah, it's fun. That's been kind of my fun thing lately to do, watching that show. And then again, feeling guilty, right? Because I'm sitting in front of the TV, but it's making me laugh, and that's one thing that I love to laugh. Like, I can't help it. I love when something is funny to me, when I'm laughing, that in that moment I'm happy. And I don't even know any other happiness, besides being on stage. I've told you guys that before. So if I'm not laughing, the end is near, right? Like, I'm in that kind of mode. Like, I'm in doom mode. The doom cloud is above me. But when I'm laughing and other people are making me laugh, or something is making me laugh, I'm good. Yeah. I'm simple, man. I really don't need much to be in a good mood and to laugh about shit. I just need fun. I just need funny shit around me. But a lot of people, they're not funny. That's the problem. A lot of people think they're funny, but their jokes aren't so good because they're dumb as hell. I don't know. Maybe I'm just picky. Whatever. I've been told in the past to lower my standards, and I've said in the past I will not do that. I would rather suffer this life of loneliness and daily anxiety and terror before I lower my standards. In any case, I strive to go up, not down, or stay. Like, that's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna make anything better. It's just gonna keep everything in a shit spot. So. But yeah. That show is great. I wish you guys spoke German. I wish that all the time. Like, the people around me, that certain people around me spoke German. Because then, I'm sure you could watch it on YouTube with subtitles or whatever. But it's just not the same. And also, a lot of the stuff gets lost in translation. Because also, the area where this is filmed is Nordrhein-Westfalen. Which is the state in Germany that I'm from. Is the Midwest, okay? And the moderator is from Cologne, Köln. This is where it's filmed. It's in a studio in Cologne, Köln, which is literally the rivalry city of the city that I was closer to, Düsseldorf. So Düsseldorf and Cologne are like, they hate each other, right? Cologne, they drink Pilz. They drink the light-colored beer. Düsseldorf, we drink the dark beer, right? So it's a constant rivalry and a constant bullshit talk and shit. But pretty much the way so the dialect of the Düsseldorfer people is, I would say, if anybody from Germany wants to correct me on that, but I think it's like my area is a little bit more crisp and clear how we talk, a little bit, like a little more High German, Hochdeutsch, with no dialect, right? Even so, my mother is from Duisburg, which is like the biggest industrial city, I think, in Germany, okay? And that's a very heavy on the dialect too. But Cologne is very heavy on the dialect too. But it is all the same type of dialect, right? And so it is so great when I watch the show, because it reminds me of home so much more, even, right? Because now this guy even talks in the same dialect. And so even when you make metaphors or jokes, they change by region a little bit, right? Some are all over, the country, but some change by region. If you're from the South, you might not understand like a metaphor that somebody's saying from the Midwest, right? You might be like, what the hell does that mean? Or a certain word that we use, and then they wouldn't get the connection, so it was so great for me to watch this, because it reminds me always of how bless your heart, exactly, that's a total Southern thing that in the North they don't really say it like that, right? Yeah, exactly. Or y'all, oh my God, I've told you guys this before. Y'all is my most hated term out of all terms that I know in my life, out of all languages I know. Y'all, I hate that shit. But it's now like it's all American thing. It used to be just in the South, right? Y'all. But now they say it everywhere in America. They say y'all. And I'm just like, I will never say that word. I will never say that word. I will say yous before I will say y'all. No shit. I will say yous guys before I will say y'all. But I say you guys anyway. I say you guys, right? Or just you. Y'all is such a fucking redneck term. It makes me want to fucking choke the people that. But of course, I'm in Florida, so I hear this shit all the time. People say that word all the time. It's around me all the time. And I'm just like, meh. But yeah, so it's really, it kind of like, all right, y'all. Oh God. So it kind of like really sits deep in my heart. And I remember like the show would come on like every every day at the same time, like 10:15 on the channel, right? And I would watch it every day. And I can remember the times I'm laying in my bed and I'm watching it before school and shit, so. Yeah, that's been nice. But and then it's also the depressing part again, right? Because it reminds you of home. Then I dream about it, and then I wake up, I'm all messy and depressy about it. And it's like, why can't something just be joyful without anything depressing with it? God damn it. Ridiculous. It's me, guys. Yeah, see, I go through phases. I'll go through months where I don't remember my dreams, and then I'll go through months where I remember every dream every day, Also smoking cigarettes too. Like when I still smoked cigarettes, I didn't remember any of my dreams. Like I didn't remember any of my dreams. I woke up for years and always just no dreams. And as soon as I quit smoking, kicked right back in. Yeah, because I guess certain chemicals in the cigarettes or in the weed, they I'm thinking they either alter your hormones that go to your brain, what do you say, like that spark the neurons that cause dreams, right? Or rather, the neurons that make you be able to remember the dreams when you wake up, or it's straight up just messes with the neurons. I don't know how it works, but something is definitely there. It's like a deprivation, right? It's a sensory deprivation in a sense, I think, or something. I don't know. But it is definitely something that happens. Like a biologist could explain, or chemist probably could explain this to you. Never? Like you never wake up and you never remember a dream ever? Because I'm not going to lie, I remember when this happened to me that I didn't remember my dreams for such a long time. Wow, that's crazy. That's a long time. Maybe it's a certain medication that you take or something that is causing that. Because I do remember when I went through this, because, I smoked cigarettes for 15 years. I smoked a pack a day for 15 years, right? And so there was a time in my life where I went a little like crazy about it. It drove me a little like insane, like that I couldn't remember my dreams. It made me a little bit like depressed and stuff. I was like, why can I not remember my dreams? Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? But then as soon as I quit smoking, boom, and I was like, oh shit, that was the problem the whole time. Shit drives me crazy. Now I'm going through this phase where it's like, it's just kind of back and forth, which is fine by me too. But I haven't really had any like really lucid and really vivid experiences lately, to the point where I want to put them on record, right? Because I keep a dream journal, which I suggest to everybody to do. It helps. It is also a thing that helps with spiritual growth. because it's like keeping a log of something that is unconsciously happened, or as we, at this time think unconsciously happening to you. So keeping track of that is really good. But nothing has been really so pretty much everything that I dream, there's always a message in every dream, right? But what is the message? Here's the question, right? My dreams have been very like nonsensical, and I can always still take away the message, but the messages were not as meaningful for me to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna write that down. Like messages as in, it's telling me what is the weather gonna be like tomorrow, right? I'm not gonna write that down, because it's just kind of like, okay, whatever. I write down the ones that I myself find meaningful and important, right, and crucial to put on record, right? So that hasn't happened lately, and I think that my little my little depressive phase that I'm going through currently is the reason for that. I think what's also happening, that the stuff that happened to my 2 cats, that I had to put them down, it was sadness, and this letting out the sadness at some point actually felt good, but when I was done with the sadness, I think it fucking catapulted me, or not. It wasn't like that. It was more like a slow progress, because it was literally like after the sadness had stopped, slowly but surely I can feel this change, and boom, and suddenly I'm in here now. Hi, Emily. And I'm in this depression, and I'm in there, and I'm like fucking like a tiger in a cage, and I know it was triggered by these events, right? Because before, even when the cats were sick, I had my little times where I had much anxiety, and I was very, very worried, but I was in a good state of mind all in all, right? I was in a good state of mind. I could feel it. I was able to keep my brain from going into overdrive and thinking too many negative. It's just so, the sadness has now pretty much run its course. That's better. That's how I should have said it the first time. So the sadness has now run its course, and has now evolved into this depression, which it's very like it's on me, like I can't breathe even. That's how heavy it is on me, right? It's kind of driving me a little bit in my head. I feel like a tiger in a cage and shit. But it's just something that I have to wait out. Oftentimes I have to force myself, like I have to make myself somehow I get myself out of there sometimes. Like I get myself out of there with really strong will, and the will to just, it's like every day in my head I think to myself of the things that are working in my life, right? The things that are okay. And I keep reminding myself, and oftentimes, like, yes, it is conscious, and it's like I'm trying with my willpower, but it's also kind of subconscious. It's literally my subconscious saying, you cannot be in this state. You need to do something, right? So every day it's like, and then there comes that day then where I wake up in the morning. That's how it usually goes. It doesn't just happen, I wake up in the morning, and then I can already feel upon waking up that I feel different. I see the world now differently again, and I'm in a better place. And I just need to kind of let this run its course, and when my subconscious kicks in, because sometimes it doesn't need to, right? Sometimes I get out of it on my own without doing any effort. It just happens by itself. But oftentimes I have to maneuver myself out of it, right? And it's really fucking hard. It's really hard because it really takes, you really have to know yourself really well in order to understand like what's going to get you out of it. And it takes years to even find out what it is, right? It takes years for you to finally figure it out. Oh, okay, that's what I've been doing this whole time. And that's what's been getting me out of it. It's hard. And most people can't do that. There's very many people that have that really need medication because they cannot find this thing. They cannot find this thing. And these people, they need medication, because if not, they're going to go to a point of no return, literally. You know what I mean? And so then these people need to be on medication. But luckily, like, I'm very self-aware and I'm very self-conscious, and I think also years of this profession that I've been doing has also been very helpful. I think people that are just, a lot of people, I call them normies, right? Normies are people that they just go to work and they go home and they maybe have their kids. They might not even have their kids, and they do nothing else. Like, normies they're very prone to not being able to get themselves out of there because they have nothing else that can lead them, that can kind of guide them, right? When you're like me, I have these certain things that can guide me out of it. I have my practice. I have sometimes my band helps me, like, not my band members really, but I myself performing with my band, that helps me, so I feel really bad for a lot of people that don't have anything else besides their job and then just going home, because for them it's really, it's very hard. I can understand how, like, an existential crisis can then, subsequently occur, and that's why I think that's another reason why people have kids too. And I myself, honestly, I'm guilty of that too, right? I sit here sometimes and I think to myself, maybe I need to have kids. Maybe that's when I really sit here and think to myself, what is the meaning of all this, right? What is the meaning? Is there a meaning? Like, because as of right now, it's like there's no meaning, right? These are the thoughts that go to my head. And then I think to myself, yeah, well, I guess there would be a meaning if I had a child. If I had a child, then I guess my life now becomes meaningful. But it's like, okay, now that's selfish. That's selfish as fuck. So I'm going to get pregnant, bear a child, just so I can feel better about my life? Now I'm putting another life into this world that might not even have what he or she needs at all, be financially or anything else. If I'm not even mentally capable, if I think I probably would be, right? It would probably snap me in there. But you never know, right? So now I'm just like doing that to this life. And I don't do that. So then I kind of normie tendencies. That's okay. Most people are normies, you know what I mean? And that's what it is. But so then I quickly am able to kind of revert a little bit back from that thought of oh my god, I keep pausing my from children to my cats, right? Because my cats are literally creatures that love me. Like, I spent so much time today cuddling with my littlest one, with my all black guy, and he's technically not mine, but he is mine. I take care of him, whatever, but I don't know for how long. But anyway, and he was literally sleeping on me, and it's like, I question, right? Because I question everything. So I question, is he just doing this because he wants food right now? No, because he has food, he has water, he has everything he needs. So he is doing this for human contact, and he wants that contact right now. So he wants that. So, it's love. He loves me. He wants to cuddle. He's not going to do that with a stranger. You know what I mean? So then I think to myself, there is definitely at least one reason, and it's that I need to take care of these animals. These cats need me, right? As little care they need, but we've seen it now. They need to go to the vet. They need their fucking medicine for their fleas. They need to get fed. They need to get watered. They need to be checked on. They need to be cuddled. They need that. These are all the things. So I think to myself, okay, they need me. These cats need me, and this is what keeps me. And and then my brother doesn't need me, but my brother needs me. Like, as a sister, I guess. I'm a sister. So So my brother is there too. You know what I mean? Because I know my brother would be upset if I wasn't here anymore, you know. And so, okay, so then I can think, it's not what I want to be, you know, it's not all that I want. I want other things there still too that can have meaning in my life, right? But I can't force that, you know. I cannot force. I have a couple of friends, but it's like, you know, there's other things, you know. I don't know. I don't know if I were really like essential to something, right? That is so meaningful, you know. I don't know, but I think you guys kind of get what I'm trying to say. So it does help. So it really is this way, and it's not like when people say you got to think positive. I fucking hate when people say that shit. Like, really, you really think I haven't went down that route? You know what I mean? They don't really say it to me like that. Sometimes some dumbass people will say that to me. But it's like, no, it's that's not even correct. Like, thinking positive can lead you astray from reality, right? Because then you will fucking just come up with some dumb shit. No, you gotta still think in reality, right? You really have to think about reality, and that's what I do. Like, I sit here, you know, because oftentimes as a teenager, for instance, I would be depressed, and I would literally sit there and say my whole life sucks, and my whole life is the worst life, and it wasn't really true. Oftentimes, right? Oftentimes it was not true at all. Like, I had you know, I mean, sometimes it was, but sometimes I did it where I had a great life. And I just sat there. It was like, no, everything is horrible. Everything. My life is the worst. Blah, 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 blah. To the point where my mother would laugh. And it's like, really? Ask this and this child, you know, on the street or whatever. So, which I was too multiple times. But, you know, when I wasn't. And as an adult, you really sit there and you realize, like, you know, I have food. I have water, I have electricity, I have internet, I have all this stuff. I have a nice home. I got beautiful plants that are growing. I have my cats. I have a pretty good job that is, you know, pays me enough to pay my bills at least, right? I do this, you know, I have good artwork on my walls that I have made, right? That makes me feel good. I have music out there that I have made. You know, and these are things that you got to think about. When you're really depressed, then even when you think about it, you don't feel any better. But your brain, it kind of like, hey, Bone Lush, your brain kind of locks it in there anyway and holds on to that thought. Your feeling hasn't changed, but your brain and if you do this all the time, it's like training your brain, right? Then these thoughts that you then have, they will turn into this internal feeling of feeling better, starting to feel better, because you just keep reminding yourself of the things that you do have and the things that are going well. And this is slowly then making you drive your own self really slowly out of the depression. See, I guess I just kind of found out the trick how to do it, right? So that's what you just got to do. I know it's done. You sit there, it's like, yeah, great, I have a good computer, yeah, I have a nice lawnmower, and I finally cut my lawn. It was always such a bad issue, so that issue is taken care of. I just paid my rent, which I was so worried about not being able, like, it's so like, oh yeah, so whatever, right? You're so like depressed, it's like whatever, but it does help if you keep doing it. I know in that moment it's just a thing in your brain, but as you continue to do that, it will evolve into this. It will go from brain into your heart and into your spirit, and then, you know, hydration. Yes, love that part. Sometimes my phone, when I'm listening to something on my headphones, it'll just suddenly turn on the volume. And it's like, why are you doing that? Weird. Very weird. But yeah, hi Bonelash, thank you for coming in. Just talking about depression here a little bit. Thought I'm still gonna do what I said the other time about preparing the sorry, my nose. Preparing the thing about the topic in the oh, okay, so we're just gonna do it like that. Okay. So it's a little bit bigger, you know? Bigger. Yeah, so about the topic, I'm still gonna do that either tonight or tomorrow. So then the topic will be in the Discord, and then whether you guys want to comment on it or write in it about it or whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But I am, hoping that you guys will at least read it, because then I'm gonna, you guys can put whatever you want. If you don't want to put anything, don't put anything. But then I can take that same topic, and then you have all weekend. If something pops in your head, you write it into Discord, and then on Monday we can discuss it, right? So I have thought that for now, since I'm still reading, because it's such a long book, right? And I I'm so notorious for reading like 4 books at the same time. It's so fucking dumb, but it's like, because I lose interest so quickly, right? So I literally pick 4 books of different topics, right? So I'm reading the complete works of Shakespeare, which is, theater, if you will, right? Then I'm reading the complete works of Friedrich Nietzsche, which is philosophy. Okay. So then I'm reading The Viking Way, which is a textbook on the Viking, archaeology. Okay, pretty much. And then I'm reading right now, almost done with it now, Empress Josephine III, memoirs of the courts in Europe, right? Because you guys know I love the neoclassical times. That's my thing. I'm obsessed with it. So I have like literally 4 books of like all the topics that interest me, so that when I get tired of one or I finish one, I go to the next one, and I go back and forth, right? So it's really funny, but it's also frustrating, because I will have quotes all the time or things that I read all the time, and then I say, oh, I read, and I cannot remember from who it was, because I read so many, like, so, it's so dumb. This is weird. I'm squeezing my ears closed and then I can't hear. I can, but really low. But, I'm so dumb. Why do I do shit like that? I'm fucking stupid. But anyway, yeah, so, and then another one is The Secret Doctrine, which is on my phone, okay? And I'm still, honestly, let me tell you something. That is the only way you can do it. Sorry, guys, my lips are dry as usual. That's the only way you can do it. For me, it was like this too. My mother would always say, you need to read, you need to read, you need to read. And I'm like, nah, boring. Well, finally I came across a book that has always been my favorite ever since. I couldn't put it down. I've read it like 3 or 4 times. It's the best book to me in the world, right? And it's pretty much like ever since then, I've been on an eternal search of finding a book again that will give me the same feeling again that this book gave me, okay? That's one thing. The other thing is, like, you really have to force yourself. I did. I started in my late, 20s. So I've only really been reading actively for, 10 years. Really a lot, right? And it really started with forcing myself. I really forced myself. I was like, man, I just gotta do it. I gotta do it. And it really helped, because you will get into it. You train yourself that at some point when you read, it really starts becoming pictures in your mind, and it's like watching a movie, and it's amazing. And then also, because in the beginning your reading is not so fast, right? You stumble over the words or whatever happens, you cannot keep concentration. That's fine. It's all beginning stages. It's just like meditation. It's very similar. The feeling of meditating is reading to me when I first began, right? But as you progress, as you read more, you will come across these books that you're just gonna finish. And because I'm a person, even when I don't like the book, I'm gonna finish it, right? I'm not gonna just put it to the side, say it, unless it's like really fucking dumb. You know, if it's like just really just so cringy and so many grammatical errors and so immaturely written, or whatever you want to call it, right? Poorly written, then I just put it to the side and then say, I can't. But that never really happens, right? There's always some value in all books, in my opinion, right? So I will finish this book, and then more often than not, it's like literally after I finish the book that I really just like dragged myself through, like the next book after that will be good. That's usually how it happens for me, right? So you gotta go through the shit that you really don't want to go through. You gotta go through it to get to the good stuff, And then your reading becomes better too. Your reading becomes faster. You're able to read faster, which means you're able to finish books quicker, which means you'll be able to absorb more and jump to the next book, if you're at the moment reading a book that is not so valuable to you. You know what I mean? And it really is something, honestly, for the first year or so, I literally was just, constantly forcing myself to read. Constantly, like, oh my God, get through one chapter. I'm like, oh my God, this is so dumb. Because I couldn't get myself to be, it's an anxiety thing too. When I'm very stressed and I have a lot of anxiety and depression, I don't read because I have a hard time concentrating. I have a hard time concentrating and focusing. Because here's the thing, although you don't have to focus pretty much or concentrate the whole time in the book, you have to initially, when you first start reading, you have to be able to immediately like get your way in there and within the first like page to already start seeing everything in your head that you're reading. Because if you don't, then you're not doing it right. Okay, you have to, and it takes concentration to get yourself there first, right? So you have to train yourself. Yeah, it just takes training. It's just like you have to train yourself to get yourself in this mode. Once you're in that mode, you just have to stay there. You just have to be focused on staying there. And these are all things that are difficult in the beginning, but they get easier as you do more of it. And then they become so easy. For me now, it's so easy. Like I open the book, I literally immediately from the first sentence on start fucking seeing it in my head. Because I'm like an experienced reader now, right? So, but it is also, yeah, absolutely. It is also hard for me. Many books that are really great and renowned books and they're very educational, oftentimes they're about politics, the history of politics, right? Different wars. Like I read Der Sturz der Titan, which means the fall of the Titans. This is a fictional book about World War I with truths in it, right? It was kind of like fictional characters, but with the truths of the facts of World War I, right? And it was, and I can remember a lot of it. It was a great book. I still have to read Winter der Welt, which means Winter of the World, which is the second part to it my mother told me to read. The problem is, like, the good thing about this book was so well that it was very evenly put, right? About personal stories of the characters and then politics. And then personal story of the characters and politics. Because there were multiple characters from the different countries and different areas that met and that had their own situations during the war. Blah, blah, blah. So that's why I was able to retain a lot, okay? But the politics shit is so boring to me. It's so boring to me. And I really can't stand it. And a lot of the books of Marie Antoinette, of course, they have that issue. Obviously, the revolution came right along there. So which that part is actually like the exciting part, right? The interesting part. But everything leading up to it. I mean, maybe Marie Antoinette is not really a good example because it was really kind of pretty much crystal clear what went down there and what the French people were thinking and how this all, happened. But of course, if you are not familiar, then to you it's fucking Greek, right? You don't know it, and it's going to be boring for you to fucking read if you're not in that shit. But for instance, right now, the memoirs of the Josephine III, memoirs of the European courts that I'm reading currently, is kind of like a little bit misleading, because although there is a lot about the courts, and when they say courts, it means literally the leaders of the world, the empresses, the emperors, the kings, the queens, all of these people of royalty, they had courts, which means these were the places where they held pretty much all their gatherings and their entertainment. And they had ladies in waiting, which, they were loyal friends and, servants to them that would have literally died for these empresses, emperors, kings, and queens, and what other. And that's how loyal they were. They would spend almost every minute of every waiting hour of the day with these royals. So, and that's usually what is very interesting to me, because there was always so much gossip, right? Gossip and backstabbing and scandals and love stories. All of this stuff, it's always very exciting, very bourgeois, like a lot going on. But unfortunately, in this book, it is very limited to the political aspect of the courts, of the life at the courts, and that really, and I'm almost done with the book, and I thought, okay, so maybe that's just kind of the first half of the book, and then the rest of the book is going to be more about the internal affairs, if you will. It did not change at all. It did describe Napoleon's, Bonaparte's reign a lot, and how he was, and that those parts I also found interesting, because we knew that he was, he was a bit off the rocker, and he was pretty much a very unkind man, all in all. So I always wonder how these people that are in charge, and these people that are so big, just like our politicians are now, right? The people that run the government and stuff. I like to look at these things and see what did they wrong, right? What did they do wrong? Because my mother always said that I was a natural leader in a way, right? So it's like, okay, if I'm ever going to be put in a position where I'm going to be a leader, then I have to know, what did the great leaders of our time, what did they do wrong? Also, what did they do right? But, that's pretty much easily, figured out. But where did they go wrong? And, all of these things. I like to figure this out. So this is the interesting part. But then the politics about fucking, how, then they start talking about how he took over Italy for a while, he took over Spain for a while, and then it talks about all of these things, about the different politicians talking to each other, the prince gets elected here, all of this shit. That is so boring to me. I don't know why. I try to really get into it, but it's so hard for me. Like, politics is so, the past politics is so hard for me to get into. Nowadays, it's a different topic, because, I'm myself involved in it in a way, if you will, right? We're all kind of part of it. But just reading about it from the past, I'm just kind of like, even so, it's so important. I should not have this mentality at all. It's so crucial to our history, because we always talk about how history repeats itself, and it should never. But that's why I look at all of our leaders from the past so critically anyway. But I have to really... So I will take in the information, but it's really hard for me to take in detailed information, because I really just, like, my brain just sums it up, these political informations into a little summary, and then I'm like, okay, that's enough. So I can, because I'm just so, like, my eyes start twitching, like, I don't want to read about any more politics, So I'm a little bit disappointed, because buying the book is great, and it is definitely something I needed to read, and I'm happy about it, and it was a great price, and it was perfect. But it is a little bit misleading how it talks about the courts of Europe, because there is very little of this, scandalous type of soap opera shit. And I don't really like soap opera at all, like the modern stuff. But back in the day, people just lived differently, and views were very different, and women were treated different, and what were the roles of men. It was all different back then, and I really liked that history, and just learning about it and kind of reliving it by reading it, and there was very, very little of it, right? The author would just talk about, I'm sitting with M. Talleyrand, and we're talking about this and this and this, and blah, blah, blah. And then already moves on right away to, Bonaparte went to Italy and had the prince elected there. And I'm just like, that's kind of like lame, bro. But I'm almost done with it. And so, point to this whole spiel that I just was that what I want to do is I really want to try to just dissect the Secret Doctrine, right, by Helena Blavatsky, because that is just very, very much focused on exactly what we're doing, what we're about in here with the Sect of the Dragon. It fits perfectly. So I think it's a good place to start. It's a little bit tricky, but also if there's something you guys don't understand, because she is a little bit difficult sometimes to read, a little bit complicated, because she's highly intelligent, or she was highly intelligent, and she really mixes the art of her writing style is kind of mixing actual scientific astrophysics with metaphysics in a philosophical way of expression. So it can get very much sorry, I think somebody wrote something in the other one that I got, if it shows up. So it can get very, very tricky to read her, right? Oh my god, why is it not showing up? I see you, I can't read what you're saying. Sorry. Oh, it's Miguel. What's up? Oh, hi, Miguel. I can't see it in my multi-stream right now. I don't know why. Sorry. Hey, thanks for being here. So, whenever I put this in there, we're going to just dissect it. And I'm not going to take everything out of the book that she's talking about, right? Because not everything has, value like that. Not everything is super valuable. I feel like now I just made it even worse. Is this better? No, that's even worse. So I guess this was better. Yeah. So I will be taking, paragraphs or so that I personally find oh, wow, yes, okay, this is really interesting. We should talk about this. Right? So they're going to be smaller paragraphs, not fucking columns of shit, but a smaller paragraph. I will screenshot it, send it in, and then we can discuss it. And please, if you don't understand something, you don't have to type in Discord if you feel like you're embarrassed or whatever, but you can personally text me too. You can text me on my Facebook or personally in the Discord in a personal message and say, listen, I don't really understand what this means. Can you explain this to me? I will be more than glad to explain to you exactly what it means, right? Because if you are interested and you want to talk about this stuff, then you need to know what this means, so absolutely, if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, this is not mandatory or anything like that to remain in Discord, not at all. But it is, our reason why we're doing this, or why I'm doing this, right? So we're just going to go, and it's a very big book, right? And it will also give me the chance to finish this book, because I cannot really put parts out of a neoclassical written piece put in there, because that, unless it is directed at spirituality, but we do know that at that time, Christianity was the only thing that was anything. So it's very limited when it comes to that type of that aspect of thinking about spirituality. It's not really there unless it's Christian, right? But we want to keep it open for everyone and to everyone, so, and for everything, and to everything. So the best way to do that. So it'll be great. I'm already into the book, but I'm still very much in the beginning. So there's still so much more, and that's gonna give me the chance to actually finish the book, because it's been kind of dragging. I haven't really been reading it much because I've been reading other stuff. So, but that'll be great. That'll be I think that'll be fun, because what is really great about, I have this fucking sunburn from the beach, it's hurting. What is really great about it is that the reality, okay, the facts behind it, right? It's not just sitting there saying, you gotta meditate and you'll reach spiritual enlightenment. Well, how and why? No, this really talks about the science behind these type of things, right? The science behind what great writers thought, what great, even martyrs or whatever you want to call, what great people back then of spiritual value, what they thought, what were their thoughts, what were their theories, what were the hypotheses, right? All of these things. So I think it'll be an interesting journey. And I'm not saying that I'm just going to be doing that in the Discord. There can be a day where I'm just going to be like, you know what, I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to post something from another book in between for some fresh air, right? Because I also don't want to make it stale. Because this is a thing that can happen with her sometimes in her books. When I read the Isis Unveiled, for instance, that she would sometimes revisit the same topic and say literally the same sentences about it, right? It would happen like once or twice or something, and it would annoy me a little bit. I'm like, no, like, we've already talked, like, let's move forward. Let's not bring this back up again. Also going to be talking about Guido von List, which I do understand has a little bit of a negative reputation. Understandably so. Some things that he talks about like, literally the purity of race, we're not even going to talk about that, because there's so much other stuff that he has written about that has a lot of value to really gain information out of, right? But we're not going to be discussing anything like that, because unfortunate is that a lot of people only know him because of this. But what people also don't understand is that toward the end of his life, where he was old and ill and losing his mind a little bit, is when he started to act out this racist part of himself, right? And I cannot forgive somebody acting like this at all, right? I can't. But there are certain things that you can still take that are valuable, okay? Because he was very much about the metaphysics of it all, and the gods and these type of things, and that's what we're going to be looking at too. So what else? Gardner, we're gonna read some of Gardner's stuff. We're probably gonna look at some stuff of the Satanic Bible. We're gonna look at the Delamalonicon. We're gonna look at what else are we gonna look at? Necronomicon could be involved a little, can be involved. And then I have the book on angelic writings. That was a very interesting book. Was also a little bit of a tricky book to read too, because it was very much just. It was also not a cheap book, so that's another reason why I bought it, because I was like, I gotta have it. Also put very philosophically in the old ways of speaking too, on top of it. So it's like, damn, like, it's like double fucking brain fuck there. So I hope so. Yeah, I think it'll be nice. I think it'll be I think it'll be good. I'm excited about it. Because I all in all, it's always like this. My whole life growing up, surrounded by people. Conversation with my parents were often a little bit more on we're not really so much about the spirituality, because my parents were just not really into that stuff. So I couldn't really have much talks about. It is kind of like sad, because I know that I know I lost my mom too early, because there's so much stuff I would want to talk to her about now. It's like crazy, but I guess it doesn't matter. Even it doesn't matter, right? Anytime I would have lost her, I would have had so much stuff after to talk to her about, right? So, but anytime I found myself with people around me, my friends, whatever, late into the night, we would sit there, and at some point these topics would come up. Does God exist? Do the gods exist? What's the devil? Spirits, spirituality, the soul, the universe. These things always came up. They were always a topic, and I'm sure you guys can probably relate to that too. They were always a fucking topic at every time I was around other people, and we had a drink, or we were just sitting, and we were just talking about life and doing whatever we were doing. These things would come up. We would speak about God in the world, as we say in Germany. Gott und die Welt. So I felt that I can make this something, right? Having these gatherings here is the beginning of doing these things, right? Because the next step, I already said, we'll meet in person. We'll have gatherings at my home or wherever, and we're going to talk about these things in person, right? And you know how it is. The more you talk about this, the more ideas come up, the more thoughts, the more memories. Oh, I read this one time, or I saw this one time, or whatever. I visited there one time that had this. All of these things, they're all connected somehow. We know that. So I think this is, this can really work for us, for all of us, to get into the perfect way of condensing this, right? So now we literally talk about this in here. Of course, we always talk about other stuff too when we can't really think of stuff like that. Always open, but having the main cause be this, I think, is ideal, because most of the time what happens is that any conversations I have with people always drift into that at the end, right? So let's make it a thing, But yeah, so this is good. I've been on here like an hour now. I don't know if I might come back later, but I think I may hop off for a minute. If not, I may be back tomorrow. I may not be. I don't know yet. If not, we're going to see each other Monday, hopefully, if you're coming. Too bad Miguel couldn't come back. Whatever happened there. But, thank you. I think so, too. I had a good time. I know it was a little bit more of a monologue, but I think I kind of explained some stuff. So that's pretty good, I felt like I got some stuff off of my chest that way too, and I appreciate all of you guys being here. Bone Lush, you were here. Miguel was here. Emily was here. Florida Metal was here, and I appreciate all of you guys and whoever else was in here, and I didn't see their name in the chat. Mr. Weird, thank you for being here too. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I might try again later. But I also just might try tomorrow again, okay? So we'll see. But thank you so much for coming. We're going to start doing this with the Discord. It'll be fun. And I want you to always remember to mourn those in spiritual turmoil. And for tonight, I say tschüss, zdravo, and bye.